Good morning, everybody, to the automated channel here. So we start off at 6 a.m. and we're here to go. We've got an exciting bunch of news today for you. So thank you for an additional subscriber. And remember, if you like what you see, you want a free full brief in your email inbox. The link is in the description below. So why don't we get started straight into our news segment. Welcome back. Okay, all right, so we are here, news of the day here. We're going to start off, we've got two pieces of news that I think is actually pretty compelling. First of all, we have an AI newsroom broke a massive story about an OpenAI security incident before established outlets like Wired, one of the biggest technology publications on the planet, could even get a piece out the door. And it wasn't just some sort of a social media type of thing, right? It was a legitimate, accurate, well-sourced scoop that beat the seasoned pros to the finish line, where reporter Kate Nibbs wrote about the whole awkward situation herself, bringing the very relatable energy of, haha, I'm in danger, according to her, right, of course, as a reporter, that basically the machines and AI showed up very, first thing rather than her. So how did an AI pull off breaking news without human shoe leather reporting? So the system scanned thousands of public data streams simultaneously, including SEC filings, earnings calls, press releases, social media chatter. That's probably actually one of the very fastest ones with social media chatter. And then cross-referenced claims, connected subtle dots, and flagged anomalies in real time, and assembled a coherent, accurate narrative and published it in minutes, all before most human journalists had finished their first cup of coffee. So this is pretty interesting. I think, look, we all know that social media is faster. If you're on X, it generally is pretty fast. But I was just talking to somebody else about actually building the automated and actually what I was doing here and what I'm trying to build here. And he was telling me, and this is, a banker, our 175th subscriber, thank you very much. And he was telling me that basically he does most of his things he gets most of the source of his news on Instagram. So now lots of things are breaking, whether it's social media, usually. I can see a world where AI will be faster than us. And people are saying, well, in the human touch, the humans are the ones that actually have the sources, right? Yeah, I think what we may see is this bifurcation of kind of the general news, like break-in technology news, where I guess it's a little bit more open source. It's a little bit more open knowledge, public knowledge, for example, right? If it's earnings calls, the AI will be much better at that. But if it's like exclusive stuff, straight from the CEO's mouth, or something that's private, like Apple releases, I think that will still be human-led. And I think that's kind of where the humans can play. And like I said before, right? I don't fear things in the AI world. Like I said before about AI hitting us and really being front and center. I don't fear AI necessarily. I think we will, as humans, find a space in which we play in this whole thing. We just need a little bit more time for that to reveal ourselves. And we just have to be nimble and adaptable to find that piece. I don't think it will be apparent right now. I think there are a lot of things that AI can do better, but we ultimately have to believe in ourselves and that we can surmount, adapt, and overcome these challenges and find our place within this new AI world. That's generally how I believe. Okay, all right, moving on to the next piece of news. We've got the AI agents are come for specialists, and white jack of all trades just became the hottest job skill in tech. And it's kind of similar to what I just talked about here. So, according to an eye-opening report from ZDNet, tech behemoths like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are quietly ditching their old obsession with narrow experts and falling head over heels for polymaths. I never really liked the word. I mean, who calls themselves a polymath, right? Like, rather embarrassing if you call yourself a polymath. Like, you may actually genuinely be, but don't call yourself that. Companies are going wild for versatile generalists who know enough about everything to boss a tiny army of AI agents around the entire tech stack. So why the dramatic breakup with deep specialists? Because autonomous AI agents can now write production-ready code, debug cranky cloud infrastructure, and construct slick front-end interfaces at near expert speed. So therefore, the specialized knowledge is actually within these AI agents, and yeah, these polymaths are really kind of leadership material, if you will, middle management. So instead of actually leading AI agents or leading people, you're leading AI agents. Polymath premium is what the terms are calling it, or what the people are calling it. Here's why versatile orchestrators are taking over overcharge, cross-stack directing, business to bot translation, to factory automation, energy. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, I've had thesis. Let me actually kind of evoke Ronald here, one of our subscribers. And we did talk a lot about leadership in the age of AI, how it would be less about leadership in the traditional sense, in the human sense, but rather you'd be leading AI agents because of this. So it's interesting that finally it's true, and this is really truly happening. And that's pretty interesting. And yeah, I can see a world where essentially more and more AI agents, and essentially instead of managing people, you have less people, but you have those people are generalists and know a lot about everything, and so they manage these AI agents, which are specialists, and actually will accumulate knowledge faster than anybody, any human possibly could. And this is kind of, again, where I see this interplay of where you stand, humans stand in the age of AI. We'll find eventually our space. I still think that there will be a space for specialists, right? So for people, for example, we talked about this, I think just the other week. If you're good at coding, debugging, there's still a place for you because AI still doesn't do it very good with cybersecurity, right? So we just need a little more patience to figure out actually what we're good at, and we'll eventually get there, is really how I believe it. But what's interesting is if you are indeed a specialist, or sorry, a generalist, someone who actually thinks generally, it is a good place for you because you are valued and needed. Neurodivergent, I might be making light of this term, but if you are one of those that just operate asymmetrically and think holistically, there is still a space for you, and you can manage these AI agents. Okay, all right, let's move on to our around the block section. Okay, all right, we've got a few articles here around the AI block. We have more than a few, in fact. So let's go first here. The first one is Anthropic, our watermark thing that we talked about yesterday. I thought it was pretty controversial from the chitter chatter that I heard on social media, on X. It was pretty controversial. People just didn't like it. And it was something about, right, again, the EU AI Transparency Act. Even though there was this act, I think people were saying, well, I mean, other companies have this. Why are we doing this now? And what is this? So some Claude users are mad that Anthropic's new watermarks will catch them using it at their jobs classes. I think that was one of the issues. I mean, there were kind of issues about holistically, this is surveillance, but I suppose there's probably this as well, right? So very, very tactical, very directly, this particular piece as well. You don't want your bosses to know, I suppose. This came on Reddit. Histrionic posts I came across. That's a good word. Never heard of that before. From a user named Vision Code, whose account is normally only 3 weeks old. According to Vision Node, the new watermarking system is a draconian conspiracy designed to victimize innocent chatbot users worldwide. The average AI user of Claude will be caught. Most experts will be able to hide evidence of their AI usage by paraphrasing or otherwise cleaning their outputs. That's right. Okay, fine. But then the argument didn't actually talk about, didn't really talk about actually what's wrong with it, right? So didn't actually say anything about wrong. It just said like, it'd be draconian, but didn't say anything wrong about kind of that type of piece. Employers may not like it. Okay, all right. So he was just complaining. Look, I ultimately, I've got a thesis here that I do think that this is a bit off, right? This is draconian. This is it's against the free world, but against, it's partly surveillance. I'm not a big fan, but on the other hand, I've given up the assumption that, anyone that wants to see what I'm doing will see what I'm doing. So, yeah, what do you think? Do you think what Claude is doing is ethical or not? Do you think it's draconian or not? I'd love to hear your opinion rather than mine, and then I'll include it actually in the next broadcast. Okay, all right, let's move on to our next article. ChatGPT, what is free and what isn't? There's been a lot of moves with ChatGPT, right? Taking away its limits, different things, and see, my thesis on ChatGPT has been proven good. Don't go into Claude. Claude is doing bad things. ChatGPT. As of August 2026, you can send unlimited text to ChatGPT. Yeah, that's right. Free text. Model and feature access in the free tier. We reported on the free text a couple of days ago, but I didn't see this article, so I'm assuming there's something new as well. There's the think button. Maybe we're just repeating things. Let's see. OpenAI file uploads are better. We've got library. Allowed to reuse as files. So the library has a 500 megabyte limit on ChatGPT. Voice mode is available to all free accounts, but it defaults to a different model. The free tier limits, it doesn't actually share limits publicly. So file and image uploads are free. Image generation, deep research, voice mode, codecs, and work. And then context window and memory features much more limited when using it for free. Adds a model training. So I guess this is kind of a follow-up. We did talk about this the other day, but I guess we weren't sure exactly what it meant with these free limits and free tiers. So as a free user, you may see ads when using ChatGPT. They will appear in the sponsor section below the chatbot's main response. All free accounts and model training. To opt out, you just basically have to do certain things as well. So it seems like, in summary, free has its own limits on some of the older stuff. Instead of just saying you can't, it'll let you kind of do certain things, but there are kind of throttles or limits. You definitely will get ads. I don't think that's a better argument, and you can actually bad debate. You're not giving up that much, and if you don't want to give them data, you can actually set that in the settings as well. So that is pretty powerful. I think that's a pretty good compromise. Generally, I do like ChatGPT, and I guess you can use codecs as well, which is pretty good. Claude, you have to pay for codecs. Okay, all right. Moving on to the next piece of news. We've got the Claude coworker now run it on a Chrome sidebar. Yeah, I was trying to get on Chrome Claude yesterday. It still needs a US number. I don't have a US number in a while. So if anybody can help me out, I would much appreciate it. So in Gadget article, Claude coworker can now run in a Chrome sidebar. You can basically, I guess, yeah, part of the Chrome browser extension would be a part of the user's history. Skills and connectors will automatically work in the browser. It may also allow tasks to be started in Claude app and continue in the Chrome browser. Okay, pretty cool. It's just more upfront and direct with you in the interaction. I believe ChatGPT also has a Chrome browser as well. Downloaded something. Don't really need to use the browser, right? Usually, I think the interface is fine. There's a lot of different ways you can use the phone. You can use the desktop app. Don't need a browser, but I guess it just wants to serve it to you wherever you may be. So you can definitely see the competition, right? You just want to be there in front of you right then and there. Okay, let us go to the next article. White House preps expanded AI policies for OpenAI models. Remember, so we talked about the American models are closed-ended models, but then the Chinese are pursuing the open-ended models, which is the open source models. And so the White House initially said that they were not going to deal with this. They did not want to discuss this. This was not part of their mandate. But now the administration, I guess, it's doing something different. So the administration will update its framework to regulate open source AI. Well, it will regulate. Let's just see what it regulates. It's quietly preparing to bring open source AI models under its regulatory umbrella. Move that sources say will expand the administration's existing AI policy framework in the coming weeks. According to Wired, the update represents the government's first comprehensive attempt to address open weight models. Okay, but what is it going to do? The White House had been trying to figure out how to oversee technology it finally can't control. Will likely focus on pre-release safety testing and transparency requirements rather than restricting distribution, sources familiar with the discussions indicate. This approach attempts to thread the needle between security concerns and open source's community's resistance to heavy-handed regulation. But the details remain fluid, and any policy touching open models risk backlash from researchers who view openness as an essential to AI safety and progress. Okay. So nothing about distribution. It's about pre-checking and pre-safety checking. That's what it says right now. There might be other things. It seems like it's a fairly fluid situation, but it seems like it's about safety check right now rather than distribution. Obviously, they can always control distribution as well if they wanted to, but it's about safety. And I think most people can be pretty okay with it. I think that's a compromise most people will be open to it. And I do think like Meta having an open source model might be an interesting strategic point, which is Zuck wants to be at the table with the US, in the US, dictating this policy, because obviously, you know, Dario and Sam are close and may not actually have nuanced views of it, but Zuck does. So I can kind of see why he pivoted kind of Meta to the open source model. It's a marketing piece as well as a seat at the table type of thing. Okay, perhaps in anticipation of this. Pretty clever, pretty interesting. I think we shall see what that looks like in the future. All right, next one. Twitch users can now refuse to let Amazon train its Gen AI models on their content. Good on you. There's now an opt-out toggle for something that should have been opt-in to begin with. That's right. This opt-in, opt-out business is not a good one. Basically, my view is like a lot of things are opt-in, or sorry, opt-out. So you're in by design rather than out. Versus if you're out in already by design and you have to opt in, you have to actually want in. But a lot of firms tweak it the other way, which is allows you to opt out. And so you're in by design, even if you didn't want to, and then you have to actively try to get yourself out. So I do think that's a bit nefarious and that crosses the ethical lines. Anyway, Twitch has updated its account settings to let streamers opt out of letting Amazon train generative AI on their content. So basically, you would normally give the training data, but now you have to say, no, I don't want to. Okay. And then the rest of the article tells you actually how to actually do that. So I think generally, right, I think it's important to, did I actually show the article? Sorry about that. I think, yeah, this one here. So I think generally, I think it's a good thing to let people, you know, let companies or check the settings that you have, because I definitely think that it's, you know, ethically it's not right. And so, yeah, one has to be careful, what one has opted, or what the company has opted even for. And so if there are certain things you don't want to train, I don't know what, you know, Google Gmail's policy is. I don't know what YouTube's policies are. And I do think it's worth actually thinking things through. And maybe there's an AI for this, where you can just or some sort of service where it opts you out of almost everything. I think that's badly needed. So if someone's watching this and wants to create something useful, maybe that type of opt-out tool would be good for people. I think that's a very powerful thing. All right, moving on. As AI safety concerns mount, 3 pioneers make the case for staying open. Okay, all right. This, I guess, a bit of a follow-up to the last article on open source models. Jeffrey Hinton, Fei-Fei Li, and Andrew Ng spoke on the issue, and while they disagreed on particular tactics, all three made a powerful case for keeping AI open. The core concern was allowing a handful of major AI companies to control the pace of progress. When a few companies control access to technology, innovations and so on, companies can control the platforms. Companies that control the platforms can influence what gets built on them. I don't want there to be gatekeepers, Ng said, quote unquote, that limits how all of us can access AI. Ng's solution was to maintain multiple providers with models and companies competing rather than allowing a handful of players to dominate the field. If I were to try to give one prescription, it would be to promote openness because AI is amazing technology. I want it to be in everyone's hands. Hinton drew a distinction between open source software, which makes the underlying code available for inspection, and open weight models, which releases the parameters of a trained AI model to the public. So Hinton has actually different ways. So Ng just says open, less competitor. Oh, sorry, more competitors, and that way we can kind of fight. And better for the consumer. Hinton says open source is great, open weight is not so great. But having said that, the battle's been lost. And then what did Fei-Fei Li say? And then Fei-Fei Li says it's very dangerous to make this a dichotomy between complete openness all the way to complete closeness. Okay. We need some levels of openness, but we also accept closed source systems. Okay. All right. I don't know. It's academics kind of debating different things, right? So ultimately, I think some open is good. I believe in Fei-Fei Li. I guess, some open is good, some close is good. There are different nuances, different pros in each. Let the market decide which one survives and try to not regulate as much, but regulate on the safety side, right? I do think that the distribution can be open to competition, but I think the safety piece is probably let that be regulated. It's generally kind of my view on this thing. Okay, but it's good. I think it's a debate that needs to happen, and it needs to be resolved, not only on a U.S. level but on an international level. And I do think that other people need to come into the conversation as well, not just the U.S. side. Okay, all right. Moving on to. All right, DeepMind's newest model allows Pixel 11 devices to transcribe sign language into text. Cool pixel around, huh? Transcribed sign language. So, DeepMind's model has embedded model which allows deaf and hard of hearing users to sign their phone anywhere where they would have normally typed in the past. So what do? Do you just kind of point your your camera, and then they can interpret this? Doesn't really say. I would imagine that. And then you basically point your camera, and then you can kind of see that. I can see something like this working well with like a Google Glasses, right? Or Meta Ray-Ban. Pretty cool. Where you do this, and then it says something and great stuff, right? The use case is tiny, right? It's not everybody that actually does American Sign Language or sign language in general, but definitely great. This is great news for them. For that community. Oh, geez, I don't know. It's a great news for that community. And generally, yeah, I think it's good overall. Okay. Next article, the last one we've got here. And then Tech Buzz article, AI pricing crisis, why nobody knows what to charge. We talked about this actually last week as well. I don't know if it was updated. Yeah, it was published earlier this week and it was updated. I guess it's still a big thing. And so I guess there's a bit of a tokenomics issue. It ended up with being a tokens issue. I talked about, I think, crypto actually being maybe one way. I guess everyone's really just trying to figure out how to price it, whether it's like it's a combination of different dynamics where it's pay per user, pay per token. People complain that it's too much. I think on the company side, it's and it costs a lot on the company side, on the technology provider side as well. So I think there's a bunch of different things that that is not sure what to do. Okay, all right. I don't know. I think it is a pretty interesting issue. How to price these things. I don't know how I would take a stab at it. However, it feels a bit like crypto tokenomics, right? And I was an economics major, so it does feel interesting, and it feels like something that does move around a lot, which is fantastic, which is why it's always interesting to take a look at these things. Yeah, I think it begs a deeper dive into actually how to price these things in the future. Something that probably, I think if I were to riff right now, it probably is, it's just basic pricing strategy, really. It's really thinking about anticipating what certain costs would be and then those costs coming down, and then anticipating kind of user growth, usage, and then pricing the tokens. But I guess the part is like growth then needs to be projected. May not be entirely true. And I think the fluctuation of usage probably also fluctuates quite a lot right now. So that's hard to price. That's basically, I would think that's probably the crux of the argument, really. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next section. All right, we are in the trending tools. We've got three trending tools for you today. All right, let's go here. We've got 3 trending tools for the AI developers and infrastructure builders. Kitesurf by Cloudflare. It's a stateless, lightweight browser built specifically for autonomous AI agents to interact with the web. Running directly on Cloudflare's serverless infrastructure. It's pretty cool. They're the ones that are actually trying to push the AI agents piece, right? It eliminates traditional browser bloat, allowing software agents to parse web pages. For the community managers and outreach specialists, WhatsApp Web Sender turns your browser into an efficient bulk messaging station. I need to check out that. I use WhatsApp a lot. Allows you to import contact lists directly from spreadsheets, personalize each message with custom parameters, attach media files, stagger sending intervals while operating straight from a web interface. And for the UGC creators and social marketers, VlogMe AI acts as end-to-end studio guided by virtual AI director that manages the entire creative arc. You start with a simple text prompt, audio clip, or portrait photo, and the AI director drafts a script and scene breakdown for you to improve before rendering a vertical video. Pretty cool, actually. It's something I used to use like HeyGen and stuff for. Cool, definitely. Try these tools. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. That way we're all beneficiaries of these tools and the comment. Okay, let's move on to the next section. All right, we are in the workout of the day. Create a successful product launch strategy. All right, let's go here. Successful product launches in a single event is a carefully choreographed campaign designed to build irresistible moment. So simply pushing a product live and hoping for traffic usually results in low conversion rates and wasted ad spend. That's correct. When we launch things on the automated, we think things through. So a prompt you might want to try is act as a world-class product marketing director and go to market. And then your goal is to build an end-to-end multi-phase. I could probably use this actually for the launch. I was actually just brainstorming and thinking what we need to do. But yeah, I actually should have done this. Kind of put the product name, target audience, primary launch objective, and then key offer incentive. Please construct a complete execution ready go-to-market blueprint structured into the 5 operational phases: pre-launch, launch, open cart, close cart, and post-launch, and execution guidelines. Oh, that's actually pretty good, pretty useful. If you need to launch anything in life or a product, you can definitely use this prompt. Think about how to launch, think about what to plan and what to build, and use that as a guide. So overall, pretty useful here. Definitely use it. I will definitely use it after this broadcast as well. So learning something new on a broadcast every single day. And let us know what you think about this particular prompt. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this broadcast. Thank you for staying with me, sticking with me at 6:30 now, 6:31 a.m. in the morning. You will see me tomorrow as well. We're going to do the broadcast, and after that, I will do a members-only podcast where I summarize the entire week's news and kind of generally how I think. But for your not free subscribers, also have a free preview of that podcast. So if you subscribe to the link in the description below, you will see a copy of that in your inbox as well. So see you again tomorrow.